We have Anna-Vija McClain here today. She is my CEO. I am the operations manager of Piccolo Marketing, and she is a phenomenal award-winning entrepreneur. For those of you who don't know her, with an expertise in years of experience helping small business owners achieve growth and development with marketing strategies, business efficiency and development, all kinds of good stuff. So, Anna-Vija, thank you very much for joining us, and we will jump right in. So today's topic really started because we were receiving just a ton of questions from our clients, and in past webinars, just about how to pivot their messaging right now with the current crisis, and what are some ways that leaders should be adjusting their messaging.
Yeah. So the questions that we're getting are all over the place, and I wanted to tailor this presentation specifically to salespeople because that's for the most part who is on this call today. And thank you guys for attending, and thank you for having me. The first thing that I want to point out when we're getting these questions is that each person needs to look at their audience, who they're talking to, and plan to customize your messaging. So you probably have more than one audience. And when we sit down and start working with clients, the first thing that we do is ask them to define their audience. And I heard some of you say it in your elevator pitches, we serve small businesses, or we serve up to this many employees, or up to this much revenue, or a minimum of that kind of thing. You have more than one audience from your clients. So you might have already put a lot of work into defining your clients because you're a salesperson, but you also need to maybe stop and think about your audience outside of your clients. So these calls and this organization, NASP, is great for referral partners. And referral partners need to hear your message differently than your prospective clients do. You also potentially have another audience in your teammates. So, some of you might be solopreneurs, but I think most of you, sounded like you're working with an organization where you're on a team, you work for a company, and the way that you're communicating with your team is different than the way that you're communicating with your prospects and your customers and your referral network, right? So one of the mistakes that we see people making, and for branding, what you want to look at very first and foremost is customizing your message and understanding who your audiences are and how they want to hear from you. Because if you just have one message that you're blasting out to everybody all the time, and let's face it, I'm a CEO, but I'm a salesperson as well. So, always at heart, a salesperson. If all I'm doing is beating the drum of, sell right now, it can come across as insensitive when we're in the middle of this, this crisis, and you don't know how your audience is going to take it. So stop and think first about who you're talking to and how you need to adjust your message to be best received by them. Now, it doesn't mean forego your brand standards. Use your brand standards as the guide or the filter, but try to figure out how to take those standards and position it for your audience. So the other thing is that I was saying, beating the drum about sales. This isn't just during a crisis. When we start working with clients, most of them are spending all of their time between social media, email marketing, phone calls, mailers, where all they're doing is saying, I have this widget, buy my widget. Whatever your widget is, right? Or your service is. I've got this thing and we do this thing and you should buy it. If they only knew the 12 different things that we sell, one of those would hit and they would want it from me. And in most cases, that's just not true. Overwhelming people with information about all the stuff you do is overwhelming. And as I say this as politely as possible as I can, most of the time, people don't care about you. Because in general, everybody has a lot going on in their lives, and their focus is them and their lives. So you have to think through what's important to them right now, and how can I position my messaging or my services or my products to match what they need. Now, we'll talk about a little bit that I can, expand upon that, Jess, but when we're talking about messaging too, I want to stay focused on messaging for you guys. You want to have consistency. And when we're thinking about, adjusting, you asked, how should we adjust our branding or our messaging? Consistency in messaging might be new to a lot of you. What we find is that people, especially salespeople, But people get busy, but they start by going, oh, well, I've got some time to post on social media and I've decided that's a good idea and I'm going to go do that 3 or 4 times this week. And then the next week, maybe they don't have as much time, so they post a couple of times. And then they get real busy and they forget to post for like 4 weeks. And then they come back and post once. And then they get busy for another week. And then they're like, dang, I really got to get on this. And they'll post 4 times or 6 times again in 1 week. Is this resonating with anybody? Right? And it might be social media. It might be your email marketing. It could be blogging or creating videos or whatever it is that you're doing to really get the messaging out there. As a salesperson, it's probably also likely your prospecting outreach, which is, if you're using a CRM or you have a list, you're touching base with people, but you're not doing it as consistently as you could be. Now, I'm a big fan of systems. I'm a huge fan of systems, and also efficiency. I speak on systems and efficiency a lot. And one of the things that we found is that right now, again, you don't want to be insensitive and you don't want to come across as just calling people every day. Hey, how you doing with COVID? You ready to buy yet? Oh, you're still not open? Well, I've got this really great product. You're going to make more bad impressions than good ones. So try to find a baseline that you can consistently commit to. So even if it's just 1 social media post a week or 2, do that. Try to batch it. Sit down and say, what are the posts that we're going to make this month? And you can go ahead and write them in 30 minutes or 60 minutes. And then, use them that you can schedule them out with a platform like Hootsuite. Jess, if you can share a link for Hootsuite, I would appreciate it. Sure. You can use a free scheduling tool like my agency does. We have an agency version, but there are free versions available. Or you can just already have it done so that when the day comes, you just copy and paste and you know that it's taken care of. So developing a baseline of consistent communication shows people that you are reliable and that you are current and that you're a subject matter expert. Now, when it comes to things like interpersonal messaging, especially for sales, one of our favorite tools is something called Loom. And Jessica's going to share a link with you guys on that as well. This is a free Google Chrome extension that I use extensively. I think we have like almost 400 videos at this point. Yeah. Is it more? Yeah. We've gotten to the point where we've got like the paid agency version and we keep having to upgrade because we have so many videos. We use it for internal training, which is great, but Loom allows you to record your screen. So like a screen share video or your forward facing camera or both. So one of the things that I love about this, I'm sure you guys have heard this, especially in sales, right? I think it's, and don't quote me on the statistic, I think it's like 90% of communication is nonverbal. So it's, your body language, it's your tone of voice, it's your, just your micro expressions on your face and things like that. It's me God, this is why this can't be here. It's me gesturing wildly because that's how I talk. And this mic is going to get in my way of doing that. That or it's going to poke me in the face. It's so close, you guys. Anyway, but there's a lot to nonverbal communication. And we know that people buy from people they like, right? So if you're sending a lot of stock emails right now to people that would be considered more close relationships with you, you might be doing yourself a disservice. So pick that level of consistency, but consider using something to the next level to set yourself apart. So Loom is great for recording quick videos. A lot of times with my team, I'll just get on and I'll do it'll look like this, like what you guys are seeing now when I do the forward facing camera, and I'll just do a video. Hey, I just wanted to send you a quick video to see how you're doing. This is a really hard time and we're all in this together and I want you to know I'm here for you. Whatever I can do to help, I am happy to do that. Give me a call. This is my cell phone number, blah, blah, blah. Give me a call directly. Shoot me a text message if I can help you with anything. We're all in this together kind of message. But there's a lot that's emoted in a video that you cannot capture even in writing an email. So consider using these sort of tools, but calling them directly and being empathetic is really, calling them directly or sending a video or message and being empathetic is really important. And I think that's a big adjustment. Jess, you asked, how should we be adjusting? Lead with empathy first. So consider those people, those audiences, consider with empathy what they need right now, and consider positioning yourself differently in order to offer that, and make sure that you're consistently communicating with these sort of tools.
Awesome. Yeah, and I can definitely attest, guys. Company culture is huge for Piccolo, and videos from B, they make a big difference when you're seeing someone's face. So, to kind of deep dive a little bit further into that B, there's so much happening so quickly and everything's changing. How can you really find a good message to share with your clients and your team?
Yeah. A good message is a variable thing right now. So, I think there's some people I think most people here were service-based. And even George, I know you sell products, but you're a service-based business. That's what sets you apart. So, when you're talking about a good message to share, creating a clear and simple focus plan to fall back on is always our first step. And I will tell you, this is the step that everybody skips. No one likes to do the work around the plan. People like to go, yeah, I want my logo to be this color, and I want to say these things, and I want to get out there with this offer. But falling back and saying, okay, what is the focus of our company right now? What is the focus? This is what our clients need. What is our focus? And I'll mention, because I think Bobby Lee did a great job of it. He was very clear about the mission. Like, he told you what what they do, the company. He told you what the church does, but he was very clear about the 3 segments of focus that they have, right? And so what I would recommend is that if you have not done this before, it's a really good time to do it. It really only takes about 30 to 60 minutes. If you're kind of going through everything, if you can get in a quiet room uninterrupted. For those of you with children, I apologize. I know that's a challenge right now. Or dogs, actually. That I have that problem with my dogs. Yeah, they're being suspiciously quiet. So what you want to do when you're picking out sort of a focus, or I don't want to use the word mission statement, because here's what I'll say. Companies tend to develop these mission statements that are like 3 to 5 sentences long, where they just pump them full of synergy and like all of these buzzwords that people like when they write it down on paper, but then no one really remembers it or commits to it or can tell you what it is. And, some organizations are a little better about this, but this is not what I'm talking about. I don't mean your mission statement. I'm talking about some very clear, like, one word or short, mantras that you can focus on. So to give you an example, our company, Piccolo Marketing, we do digital marketing for small to mid-sized businesses. We also do training and mentorship around marketing. We have 3 core company principles. We don't even call it a mission statement. Our 3 company principles are happiness, we are a teaching company, and don't get offended, get better. Those are our 3. Now, those we established, we used to have 10. So several years ago, there were like 7 more of those things. And what we found was it's really hard to focus on 10 things. What they say is that you can reasonably focus on about 3 to 5 if those things are adjacent to each other. We decided about a year ago to narrow those down to 3 things, and we have really held on to them. Now, that is our filter for how we communicate, how we make decisions, how we're moving forward with all of our different audiences. Is this thing, the way that we're selling, the way that we're offering, we're providing service, the decisions we're making, does this fulfill our core company principles? Happiness, we're a teaching company, don't get offended, get better. And if it's not, we got to do some double takes there. Why? What could we do different? Now, COVID and crisis is different. It is different, right? So what we adopted for the COVID crisis were some new temporary focuses. And so I'm going to give you some examples. And again, what you want to do is pick the ones that resonate with you the most, and then use these as a filter for your communication. So when you're thinking about what to post on social media, what to write a blog about, what to email out to your prospects or to your network in general, think through these as a filter. So here's a couple of examples. The health and safety of your team and clients. That's a pretty important one right now. I see it everywhere. I feel like I'm still getting 20 emails a day from every company I've ever opened an online account with. That's like, just to let you know, we're very concerned about your health and safety. Thank you, Spotify. So health and safety of your team and your clients. The second one, adjusting your services and products to match the current market needs. So how are you letting your audience know that you are conscientious of what they need right now, and you are adjusting or pivoting your services and products to match their needs? I'm assuming George is probably selling more hand sanitizer than he's sold in a hot minute.
Hand sanitizers and face masks are all the rage right now. So
shocker. Yeah, exactly. And we can talk more about that, but managing your business to survive. One of the things that we've had a lot of concern about is our clients, because we work on retainer with clients. So we have like long-term relationships with clients for years and years. We've had some clients that are like, hey, we just want to make sure that you're going to be here to keep servicing us. Because like if our business is having trouble and all these other businesses are having trouble, are you still going to be around to take care of us? So assuring them that you are taking steps to protect your company and to be there for them in the long run. Serving the community. So how, again, you guys heard me, some of you that were on earlier heard me mention my new podcast that will be launching probably within the next 30 days called the Happy News Group. And what we're focusing on is companies that are going above and beyond to help their community. That's important right now. People want to see how you're going outside of your, yep, I just beat the drum for sales, and are reaching out to help the community. So maybe that's one of your top focuses. Another one is getting through this together and supporting one another. So I think most of us are small businesses. I mean, I looked through and kind of heard your pitches. I didn't hear anybody from Nissan or Coca-Cola on the call today. So I think most everybody, is going to be categorized as a small business, less than 500 employees. And, getting through this together is something small businesses do. We are just unique in that our community of business owners rallies together to help one another. That's why you guys are all on this call, because we're all small businesses and we want to refer to each other and help each other grow. So, we did an outreach. We actually reach out on a weekly basis to our clients with updates, but we did an outreach to them to kind of say, look, whatever you need. And again, with me, I did it. Here is my cell number. Like, let us know what you need. Our account manager can have extra calls with you to talk about COVID. We can do extra marketing for you for free about COVID, because we want to make sure that we're in this together and that both of us are going to come out on the other side. So I think that if you're looking, Jess, at like how to find a good message, being able to set up your foundational focus, these are the 3 to 5 things that are most important to us. And then everything that you're putting out right now goes through those filters is the best way to get started.
Perfect. Yeah. And I think that's a really good foundational plan. But when you're really getting into it and, looking at what you're going to be putting out to your community, how do you figure out what's the right thing to say?
I like that you went like this. The right thing to say. Yeah, the right thing. Let's start right here, which is that there is no right. I think that we could all agree that there is a wrong. I think there's some definitive things that you could go, yeah, that's the wrong thing to say right now. There is no playbook for this. And those of you, I know I've got several people on the phone that have known me in different capacities for, short and long periods of time. I'm a big advocate of mental health. My number one core company principle is happiness. If that doesn't, equate how much I hold true to that. For your own mental health, you need to remind yourself that there is no playbook for this. This is a once in a lifetime, worldwide, unexpected pandemic. There's no, I'm a marketing agency. I've had a marketing agency for 6 years. Nobody from the secret marketing federation of gurus came to me when I opened an agency and said, here's all the right answers. And handed me, the pandemic branding messaging Bible. That, it just doesn't exist. And so I think that we have to get over the concept of being right. I think, again, there's good messaging. There's ways to approach things better than other ways, but I don't think that there's a magic wand. You're not just going to find something that goes, yep, if I say exactly this thing, everybody's going to resonate with it. They're going to see it as being, tailored to them. They're going to buy. It's going to be perfect. It just doesn't exist. So instead, what I think what we've been recommending that people focus on is being authentic. So rather than trying to be right, just be authentic. One of the things that I think a lot of people are scared of is saying, I don't know. Especially in sales. Like, we don't want to say, somebody asks us a question and we don't want to say, well, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
The challenge is that if you put on this, bravado of, everything, it does not feel authentic. It doesn't feel like you're in it with people. They can lose trust for you if you make up an answer that you didn't know. I think being authentic is more important than having all the answers. And that's in sales, and it's also just in leadership, right? Showing them that you're in it with them. When I say to my team, and I say it often, I don't know, my next sentence is, let's go figure it out together. Like, that's all I got. And what I found is that the authenticity and the connectivity there of saying, it's okay that I don't know and I'm the CEO, it gives my team permission to feel like they don't have to know all the answers either. And it gives everybody the empowerment to go learn. And learning is more important than knowing all the right answers. So I think authenticity is a very important part of, again, it's just a very important part of your quest for the right messaging. I'll also say, right now, one of the things that we're seeing a trend in, and we're seeing work for our brand and for our clients, is giving too much value. We're using a lot of air quotes today, aren't we? There's a lot of air quotes. Is giving too much value. Now, you have to define what too much value is for yourself, because it could be, could be different from company to person to whatever. But I'll give you an example. When we first went into quarantine, we as a company, I'm involved in a lot of different organizations. So entrepreneur groups and, resources that from the Small Business Administration through SCORE, all these things. My inbox was flooded with resources on how to handle COVID. And not just like, how to manage a business, but like financial resources and like, HR resources and legal resources and all these things. And we were like, gosh, I'm sitting here looking at 300 emails going, I wonder if everybody that I know is getting all these emails. Because I don't think that they are. Like, a lot of the clients that we help and a lot of, our prospects and the small businesses that I mentor through the SCORE program, they're not involved in all these organizations. They're not on these email lists. They're not getting these resources. All these free webinars and all these things, they don't know about them. So what we decided to do is put together a page for COVID resources. So I went, you know what? Too much value. Like, it's not going to hurt me to share all this information. And other than a little bit of web development time or some team time to put it together, we developed a web page on our website that's free where we shared all of those resources. And we organized them and cleaned them into categories. And all of the webinars I'm doing, we're posting all of the webinars for free. So now anybody that we're coming into contact with, we're like, hey, here's this page. Go use it, go use it, go use it. I don't earn a penny from it. It doesn't matter. The point is that we're all in this together. And so if what I'm getting access to can help somebody else, then by all means use it, right? So think about how your company can provide too much value. It might not be, you don't have to buy everybody, you don't have to send $1,000 to all of your clients or anything, but what are the things that you have access to? What are the resources, the services, the products that you can provide a little differently or at a discount, even if it's temporary, or just information or consultation? Host your own webinar. What does that too much value look like for you?
Hey, Anna.
Yeah.
Could I suggest, or can I talk about one quick thing I've been doing with my outreach in that capacity? Is I've been engaging with my clients, and I've gotten a lot of interaction on this, but and this may sound silly, but my wife and I are big fans of Answer, the restaurant in Sylvan Park. And during the quarantine, they have a weekly email with meals to go, and I've been forwarding that to my clients as a value up offer kind of thing for them for their family. And I've gotten a lot of engagement on that. It's like, well, thank you, George, for saying that. It's actually one of my favorite restaurants, so that's been one aspect of my outreach / keeping in touch with my circle. And I thought that that kind of echoes what you were just saying.
Yeah.
In in a personal kind of way, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we've done something similar in our communication with our clients. So every week on Friday, we decided to start sending a happy email to our clients so that they could actually have something good in their inbox rather than just another COVID-19 update email. And so there's no work agenda at all. Katie, our account manager, came up with the idea to do our featured Piccolo puppy of the week. And so all of our team members sent in pictures to her of our dogs because we are a big dog loving company. I think most people that work for me have a dog. So we all sent in puppy pictures, and then she made a little form. It was like a little, like a dating form, like what's your favorite thing to do and your favorite snack for the dogs. And we filled it out, and she sent for several weeks. We've run out of dogs now. But we sent for several weeks the featured Piccolo puppy of the week. And our clients wrote back and they were like, thank you. Like many of them wrote back and were like, thank you for this. Like, first of all, dogs are adorable. Who doesn't want to see them? And secondly, like, this is what I want in my inbox. Like, I just want a reprieve from all of this overwhelming, material and information. So now we've gone to the point where we're developing a Spotify playlist, the Piccolo playlist, so that we could share that with our clients, and all kinds of things. So, like you said, it can be human, George. It doesn't have to be business. It can be whatever is providing value at an empathetic level. So
when I was first reaching out, I had my sales cap on, and it felt so awkward making those contacts and outreach. I'm like, I got to pivot away from this.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel right. So then I kind of moved into just kind of staying in touch and keeping in contact and sharing the menu or other little things that would just kind of keep in touch. And if I can do that, then that's a victory right now. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I mean, be authentic, give too much value. I'll also recommend that you have grace for people. So, have grace for yourself, and that we're all figuring this out together right now. Have grace for other people. If they don't get back to you right away, it might not be because they're not interested or because they're irritated. It could be because they're trying to keep their business from going under, right? Just have some grace. Maybe give them a little bit more time to respond than you normally would. Maybe be a little bit softer with your language, and try to be overly accessible. So you heard me mention earlier, I'm giving out my cell phone number like candy right now. It's just like, you need something, here I am. Give me a call, give me a text, and do that. Make yourself overly accessible, not just by, phone and email, but for things that aren't necessarily work related. Again, people buy from people they like, and right now we're just all trying to figure it out together. So the last thing I'll say on this, Jess, is I do want to recommend, there's this really amazing book. If you guys have not heard of Brene Brown, I feel like the universe assembled all of the things to make Brene Brown's work in this moment, like the penultimate. It's amazing. So she studies shame and ego and the negative effects that it has on us as humans and as companies and organizations and things like that. So she is an expert in shame, which is a really not great topic, but she has written several best-selling books, and one of them is called Dare to Lead. And I think Jess has a link she's going to share with you guys over here, so that you can check that out. But it helps us realize or be aware of some of the toxicity in our mental our mental processes and our thinking patterns. And then that way, we can address it and be better in moving towards this authenticity and working through things together. So yeah, that's a great book.
Yes. Brene Brown is perfect for right now. They just made COVID, and then they gave it to her to go with her book, I think.
Yeah. And I realized I kind of went into, I think I got a little bit ahead of myself there. I mean, I went through all of that planning, and then right into the too much value. But I think,
that's perfect. You
all
did
relevant.
Yeah, you did a really nice job of really walking us through what too much value can look like, and thinking about that even more, around what your customer maybe really needs right now, how you guys are delivering that. I guess can we kind of look in more on that side of how you can find what you need to be focusing on for what's important to your clients, and like how you can do that in your business?
Yeah. So one of the things that I'd like to remind people is you don't have to change your entire business because of COVID, nor do you just have to start giving things away or highly discounting them in order to get clients. I know that, as a salesperson, that can be a gut instinct which is, oh gosh, I'm not getting any sales. I need to make some drastic changes in order to do that. Focusing on what they need can be adjacent to what you're already doing. It can be also temporary. So to give you some examples of this, whenever our company is looking at, we want to move forward with this initiative, or, hey, we're all talking about something, we're brainstorming, and we all think X. Once we get to that point, we usually have a mandatory, it's super fun, we have a mandatory devil's advocate period, where we have to say, if this is what we want to do, what is the exact opposite of that thing? And we have to debate why that or something like that isn't the good idea. And so it forces everybody to go through and think with a different mindset. And when you have to defend or debate the opposite side of what you think, it changes your thought patterns. And so what I recommend is that if you have not done this yet for the crisis period that we're in, you alone or with your team, do some brainstorming. What is it that we offer currently? How long have we offered it? If you're offering the same thing for 3, 4, 7, 18 years in a row, maybe that's because it's a good thing and you're really successful, or maybe that's because you haven't had an innovation brainstorm in a hot minute, right? Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It just means you should think about it. So sit down and say, this is what we've been doing. Okay, if that's what we've been doing, what is something different or opposite of that? And why aren't we doing that? And if you have a good explanation for why, or a debate or an argument for why, awesome. If you find yourself faltering because you're like, oh, well, I'm trying to think of an example that would make sense, but all I have are ones for us, so like for us, we've done premium marketing services since we opened. So I started the company in March of 2014, so a little over 6 years ago. And the goal was to help small business owners by coming in and doing their strategy, putting together a strategy, and then executing that for them. So we actually do the work, SEO, website, social, emails, content creation, all that stuff. About 12 months ago, maybe 16 months ago, we started noticing a trend, which is small business owners are getting pretty good at doing marketing on their own, because people are just becoming more familiar with like the internet and like social media and like writing blogs and making emails, and those things are becoming easier to use and more accessible. And what we found was that the more we tried to argue that premium marketing services were what our company does, we had trouble defending why maybe we weren't offering other things. So for example, we started looking at, well, what would be the exact opposite of doing marketing for somebody? And we came up with, well, what if we taught them to do it themselves, but the way we do it to our standards? Why can't we do that? We couldn't come up with a decent argument as to why we couldn't do that, because like that is what some people need. It is adjacent to what we're doing right now. It's still well within our means and opportunities. Like we have the capability of doing that. And it serves a portion of our audience or our market that is they're not going to buy premium marketing services. They're just not. They want to do part of it themselves, or they don't have the money enough to hire us. So we developed a program called Piccolo University. We took all of our internal training videos, templates, checklists, and best practices, because we have all that for our company. We reskinned it and we put it onto a platform called Teachable, and you can now access that for $47 a month. Right? So it's not something that, it's not like the sales there. You guys are salespeople. It's not like we sold 4,000 of those overnight. But now when we run into people, or people are referred to us and they say, hey, this is what we need, I don't have to go, sorry, the only thing we do is premium marketing services, good luck. Now I can say, yeah, I know exactly where you're at, because I do. Here's this thing that we have that will help you. So that's the best example I have, really, and it's just a personal experience of how you can look at what you're doing and figure out what are the things that you have already or that you could easily create. I've got a friend that she does a podcast and a video component of it, webinars and things like that. A company that she used to work for came back during the crisis, the COVID crisis, and said, we need somebody to just manage all our webinars. We don't have anyone on the team that really has that capability. Can you do that? She now has an entire side hustle where she just like manages and promotes webinars for companies. Like that wasn't her expectation. That's not what her business really does, but she has the capability to do it. So why not make some extra money and, just be a little bit safer in her business. So think about how you guys can sort of pivot a little bit and always be thinking with the client need in mind first. So your idea should not, I shouldn't say should not be, maybe the core of the idea should not be, hey, we've got 500 of this product sitting in a back room that no one's ever wanted to buy. Let's see if we can push those right now. Unless apparently it's hand sanitizer and face masks, in which case that is gold and you need to get that on the market. But if you've got a stock room full of old widgets, that's not really what your clients need right now. It might be what you're trying to get rid of, but it's not really in the right spirit, right? So have a real brainstorm around that. A couple of examples. So we talked about webinar management. So if you can promote and host webinars, if you're good with Zoom, that's something that many people aren't, and maybe they'd be willing to pay you for that. We put together a webinar management and promotion package for our clients. For $300, we will brainstorm the concept and help you with putting it together. We'll promote it for you. We'll put it together on Zoom and facilitate the meeting and share your links and collect all the emails and then send out the follow-up email as well. And for a lot of our tech challenge clients, they're like, here, can't do it. Done. Yeah. Sign in the check. Here you go. And it's only, it's $300, but it's $300. Like right now I'll take $300 over no money, right? Introductory level packages. Can you take what you normally offer as a premium service? And I hate to be this way, things that you would have sold at a premium level might not really be as in demand right now. And the value or the perception of the value may have changed right now, right? So can you take what you used to offer as a premium package and chunk it down into pieces at introductory level pricing? We didn't used to sell just social media management, but boy, howdy do we do that now. Is that what you need right now? That's fine. It's not our goal. It's not our, hey, how do we go out and sell a bunch of those? But if clients are coming to us or prospects are coming to us asking, we have an option on the table. E-commerce wasn't our go-to. It was part of something if you had a comprehensive plan, but now we have a special package that we made just for e-commerce because brick and mortar businesses can't even open. And they never thought they needed e-commerce, and now they need it right now, right? Yeah. Adjusting your terms and contracts. We normally sell 12-month agreements. I'm comfortable signing people up for 3 months right now, or 6 months right now, or month to month. Let's talk about it. What is that? What do you need right now to get you in my pipeline, right? Training courses, if you can train people to do what you do, like I had mentioned. Can you do consultation where you sell an hour of your expertise or however you want to package that? And then bundling packages. Can you look at, if you have products or services that you could put together and offer a discounted price on? So those are just some ideas of how you can maybe pivot. You don't have to reinvent your whole company, but you can look at changing a few things to make it more accessible to your clients.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So when we're pivoting or when we're thinking about how maybe we can adjust things, is there a way that brands can really win during this crisis? And, what should we really be taking away from this all?
Yeah, I think takeaways for today. So I would say right now, there's not really any guarantee that a business is going to survive this. I think some businesses are better positioned to survive, which is great. But, when you have the United States Postal Service, all of the airlines, companies like I think Amazon's the only one, Disney. When Disney is not doing good, I think a lot of small business owners, there's just not a guarantee, right? Because we don't know how long it's going to go. You don't know how it's going to impact your business. So I think winning, and this is, again, a mental health thing, we have to define winning as surviving right now. Winning is not, I doubled my revenue. I doubled my revenue in 2020. If you do that, kudos to you, man. You are definitely winning, but just surviving right now is winning in comparison to a lot of businesses. And so I think that we need to come, the same thing with coming to grips with that authenticity and admitting when you don't know things, admitting that just getting through the day and keeping the company going and keeping your sales going and just surviving is winning right now. But I think being authentic and empathetic during this time is my primary takeaway. Anything that you're doing with brand messaging and with your communication, come at it from a place of authenticity and empathy first. I think the second takeaway would be shifting your message by providing overwhelming value and not just falling back on your old tactics. So everything that you have normally done to sell, stop and question why you're doing that and if it makes sense right now. Yep. And then the third thing is, I think having a short and clearly defined message to communicate your brand and where you're coming from allows you to really have that consistency. And so, you know, whatever you're doing, everybody's going to have a different level of activity across social and email and blogging and all that stuff, calls and all those things. If you have a filter to put it through, you will have consistency across your messaging.
Sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so very much for putting this together. George, thank you so much for having us on today and giving us a chance to share this with everybody.